Greetings, welcome back to WebDev 1. Here we're going to show you how to go ahead and use different methods to do your assignments, turn them in. There is this emulator here, one nice feature. Again, there's much better ones out there, but one nice feature of this one, well, all of them really, is the emulator, is you can go ahead and you can type in here, refresh, and then it'll kind of show up right away, right? So it kind of gives you that ability to do that. Also, then when you're done, this doesn't save everything I mentioned before. You'll click download. It'll go to your downloads, and then I recommend that you go ahead and move it to another folder that will have all of your assignments in there as well. And then what you'll do is you'll go ahead and just create a new folder for each week. Now, for most weeks, you'll just have that one file, and again, I'll show you how to turn that one file in. But that's kind of how you use this editor, right? And again, I would put it here because there are times you'll need to download this as well. So it won't download all these files. You'll have to download each of these as well. You can also upload or copy and paste your code in here. Either way, it'll get your code here. But now you have your files in the right folder. To turn it in, you can go ahead and our first one project isn't until, here we go, 3. And then I got to click you as a student real quick, but you'll just click your start assignment, and you'll notice that there is a text box here. This allows you to type anything you want to type, any this, that's, questions, whatever, and then you insert document and upload. You'll upload the document here. So that's really, I'm going to show you a second way to go ahead and do your assignments, but that's how you'll turn them all in. Now also I'm doing this other stuff, so this will apply to everything as well. So keep watching the video, no matter which direction you're leaning towards. I'm going to show you real quickly how to do the other method, and then also how you'll turn in the more complex. So that was a quick thing. This should get you started for the first few weeks, but eventually you might want to actually go in here and start using this. So the simplest way is to go ahead in the correct week that you're going to be creating it, go to new and then do text document. Now this is really important, right? So you may or may not see this extension. What you're going to want to do is change it to HTML. So if you don't see that extension, and this is what it should look like if you don't, you'll like show file name is right. So don't go to this, rename it, and then add what I'm about to show you for that, right? So don't add the .html here. Because, again, if you don't see that extension, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do. It's going to call it .html.text. So you make sure, so you go to View, Show, File Name Extensions, and see that. Now I can go to it, because I can see that, rename it, and then I'm going to do HTML. You'll notice, yes, you're not really corrupting it. It changes once to open with Chrome, and that's what we want. But to edit it, though, we're going to go use our favorite editor. And you can look, I mean, you can do it all in edit with Notepad, which is essentially kind of just using this over here, so not a lot better than that. But VS Code, Notepad++, they all have these extra features that will make it a little bit easier for you to go ahead and use, right? So you start with your blank page. I'm going to go ahead and copy this code real quick because I want to type it all over, waste your time. But there we go, right? So now you can say I have a bunch of other files, but I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now I have index.html, minimize that, show you my folder. So now that has that information. So if I double click on it, there it is, there's that test. So it's a little bit slower than just seeing the two things side by side. But this is also what it looks like on a web. So what's really nice about this is really what it looks like on a web page. So if you have some kind of CSS and it doesn't look right, which you're getting into more advanced CSS in this course, it's going to be important so you can actually see the whole thing. A lot of students it'll be centered like this, but when you go to this, now it's over here because they didn't actually center it correctly. So it is kind of nice to use this and not this emulator, because again, centered here doesn't mean it's going to be centered here if you did the code wrong. But right now, there we go. It's the same concept for turning in. I just created a file in week 2 now, and I have my HTML file. Now let's say, and I'll just say it's week 3, it's not week 3, but let's say we go to week 3, and you're going to have 2 files, alright? So I'm going to go to new, text file, and I'm going to delete everything, so I can do index.html, or whatever I tell you about, or whatever, you know, login, whatever I tell you to call it. Yeah. And then, so you have your CSS file, which again, we'll get to this soon enough, but we go over here, again, delete everything, style, or whatever you want to call it, .css, and yes. And you can still, on this one too, right-click, and it might have to, you know, go down to open with. And again, at the very least, you can open with Notepad++, but you can see it wants to let me do that, and you can see Notepad++ is, or I said Notepad. Notepad will work, Notepad++ is what I've been using. And we'll go ahead and open that. Now, you can, if you want, alright, go ahead and upload these individually. So insert, or, and sometimes it's a little bit easier for me if you go ahead and go over here, right click on this, compress to zip file, and now it's just one file. So I can open it up. And what's nice about having one file is when I go, it's all in one folder, I guess I should say, and then when I go to open this, any information you have linked to other objects in here, pictures or whatever, it's all there, right? So that's gonna be really important when you get to having to start stow photos on that. As well. And again, I can go ahead and go in here, I can new folder, pics, lowercase that because it'll make the code harder. And then I can upload my photos here, and again, once again, I have all my photos, I have all my files, I go here, I right click, I compress to zip file, it's going to call it 2 now, because I already had that one. But now I can go to the project, insert, document, upload documents, and then just upload that zip file. So that way when I go to grade it, I'll unzip the file, I'll unzip it, and then boom, I have week 3, I have all your stuff here, and then all your links work. All right, this is the most important piece of this. All your links will work if you do it this way. All right. So I highly recommend that you use this mechanism for your system. It's going to get you pretty close to how a web server. Now, obviously, the ideal thing is if you have another computer, Raspberry Pi, to set up a server on that and really get the full web development experience. But that's really more of a Web Dev 2 thing. For now, just realize as long as you have all these files in the same folders or in the subfolders, you can be able to find the path. And, a lot of this might not make sense right this second, but you can come back to this video and make, oh yeah, that's what Mr. Terry was saying. Go ahead, you can link all these things correctly to it. All right. So I'm going to delete that because that is just a copy of that. And that's about it, right? So I highly recommend that you just go ahead and use this as a reminder. If you don't see that, don't start changing it, because if I were to say whatever .css now, then it's just going to be .css, .html. So again, make sure that you have your view set correctly so you can see the file name, so you can change this, because remember the default for these is .txt, and that will not, as you can see, well, it'll open on another screen, but as you can see, it doesn't open in Google, whereas calling it .html allows me to actually see what the web page sees. And if I ever want to go back to edit it, which I mentioned a few times already, I can just go ahead and right click on it, edit with Notepad++. Boom, right? And you can see how I have the color coordinating, which is what's kind of nice about some of these. And some of them you can configure it to autocomplete when you do tags, if you want that or not. But anyway, that is how you go ahead and do all the pieces of it, right? Turn it in, create it, modify it, create yourself a folder called HTML, create a folder for each of the weeks, and just put your files in there. If you only need to turn one file into me, then just turn that one file. If it needs a bunch of other files it's linking to, and especially if it has extra folders in it, remember you can right click on it, zip it, and then just turn that one zip file into me the same way for all of them. Alright, and then you'll paste, you'll get it in there, submit assignment, and you're good. Now I'm going to leave this view for now, but that's the gist of using the web dev things. You have the option to go ahead and use this, and you might use it for some small quick things, or right, you don't have, this works on a Chromebook real easy, a little bit easier than doing the other system. So just remember, it doesn't save, so make sure to download it. And even if you're on a Chromebook, it'll download it, you can get it to your Google Drive. But just realize this does not save, right? It's only saved locally. It's not saved to the cloud or to Google Drive, so that's why it has a download feature, and then you can just upload it again if you need it. Alright, I probably rambled on a little bit too long, but I just want to make sure that you see the two methods, and again, it is kind of a transition, as I mentioned in the last video, with this over to this system as well, so you can still kind of follow along and have all the same videos, because these links right here are super important for a lot of the stuff that you'll be doing in the coursework. So I want to make sure that you still have access to that when this goes away. But don't realize you're probably not going to get a lot of updates until I'm able to do a whole bunch of updates. But this should now be fully functioning. All right, have a good one. That's it. Bye.